It is time to get raw. It is time to get down. It is time for the RAWDOWN, the number one source for all things WWE right here at the Turnbuckle Tavern. I'm your host, Young Anthony of the Independent Epicenter. Join with me is my co-host tonight, the MVP Marco of the Chick-fil-A Show. Marco, how the hell are you doing?
Good. I'm on a streak right now. I'm predicting figure releases accurately. I think we'll see when at the end of the month when Theory cashes in and becomes the youngest undisputed Universal champion. So
you could get that one right too.
Yeah, if I do that, you might as well just give me the title. No, even if I lose, even if I get every other match wrong and I get that right, I might as well just get the title.
Well, you might as well get the title now because our champion Tom is not here yet. He says that he will be making a run-in later on in the show. I'm going to hold that to him. But again, if he doesn't show up, championship is vacated. So we shall see. Also, J-Bone is not with us tonight. J-Bone, hope to see you soon. But we got a nice duo here of myself and Marco, and we have a boatload of topics to talk about. And so I think it is time to get right into it. It is time for the news that you can find
outside the ropes.
Let us kick things off with the news outside the ropes. So we mentioned it multiple times here on the RAWDOWN, and we're going to keep mentioning it because there's more details to the story being added virtually every week. Every other day, it seems there's something new with good old Vinnie Mac, good old Vince McMahon.
We'll make movies.
And it is surely a movie being made. So, Marco, I'm going to let you take the floor on this one because we have a new update on the Vince McMahon scandal, everything going on there. So tell us what happened now.
Yeah, so a close friend of Vince McMahon, company known as the Wall Street Journal. If you followed along with the Vince McMahon story, you know that they're keeping tabs on the day-to-day operations of Vinnie Mac. But
for sure,
yeah. So on this past Friday, they reported that he paid $12 million to 4 women over the past 16 years to silence allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity. 12 million, obviously. that picture scared me. If you're listening, there's a picture of Vince McMahon with his ever famous Tyrannosaurus Rex.
His T-Rex. I hear Triple H has a mini version of that in his office. I think that's a little
really.
Yeah, apparently he has a little
T-Rex,
a baby T-Rex, exactly.
Probably. But yeah, so they broke that news, and one of them supposedly is a former wrestler. I haven't seen any. One of the ladies, I should say, is a former performer there. They didn't say the name. There's a lot of speculation. I'm not going to obviously go out and say, go look for yourself if you want to go find it. But hopefully it's not like last time where someone just outs all these women. I don't think that's what they want happening, but it's the internet age and things like that happen. But
you, the audience, are quite frankly tired of having your intelligence insulted.
Exactly, Vince. But yeah, so one of them is a former wrestler, and there was some. I'm not going to read what why this person was demoted and fired.
Yeah,
but let's just say she declined some activity from Vince McMahon. So that's pretty much the new stuff is. So they didn't say what he spent, they didn't say where the money came from. That's something that's still investigating. So if you notice on all these articles, it's he spent this money on this woman, he spent $12 million. It's not saying if it's from his. This article actually didn't say it was from his pocket. It said he paid out $12 million. So that could be still under investigation if it's any. What they're looking for is if it's WWE money, petty cash essentially. So
right. I was listening to what is it called? We're Live Pal with Andrew Zarian today, and they made a really good point about just this whole Vince fiasco. And a way that I'm kind of looking at it too now, after I heard how he said it, and he put it really well, was that like, I feel like this is a much bigger story than a lot of like the quote unquote mainstream media are painting it out to be.
mm-hmm.
If this was any other sports league, right? If this was Roger Goodell or Adam Silver or Rob Manfred, this would be front page on the New York Times. This would be, top story on NBC or ABC News. This would be a huge deal. But I feel like it's almost getting pushed to the side. And they talked about this on We're Live Pal because of the fact that it's like, it's wrestling, do you feel that kind of like, because this is like almost expected from Vince's quote unquote, like his character, if you want to say it like that it's almost like, oh, it's wrestling. It's whatever.
I'm kind of getting that. But the other thing too is a lot of like a lot of sports outlets are actually covering this too. Like the article I got a lot of the information from was from Sports Illustrated. And it's, ESPN's covered it as well. I know recently someone that was on the board, WWE board, that was an ex-ESPN, I forget, advisor or something like that. They recently stepped away. They stepped down from their position from that. So, I mean, the article that I read was like, kind of talking about that. Like this has bigger implications than a lot of people are, like you said, because it's wrestling maybe. But at the same time, it's the WWE as a brand, not so much its product. And obviously there's a lot of ties. I was actually, you can go on the WWE.com and look at the board of directors. And they're all they're not all WWE people. The Sony executives are involved. Like I said, ESPN. There's a lot of different people that are on the board from different companies and different outlets. So I think when people think WWE board, they think it's all WWE people. But the board, I think, only consists of maybe the WWE people are Vince, Triple H, and Stephanie, I think. The rest of the board members are all from different companies.
Right.
And they're all investors. So like you said, Sony, NBC, all these so it is a bigger implication than what they're saying. I think because it's an investigation, maybe they can't, there's some things they can't just put out there, and they can't really. I don't think you'll really see anything happen until they have like the full facts and the details of what they're looking for, and then they can really push all that stuff out. The other stuff I've been reading too is like it's a lot of stuff been leaked from somebody from former. It could be for a former employee, a former board member. They still don't know. I mean, we're probably never going to know because they're kind of like an informant in this thing, and Wall Street Journal's kind of keeping it under wraps because it seems like things got a little bit quiet for a few weeks, and then like this past Friday, Wall Street Journal comes out with this. So I'm expecting it to some more stuff to come out in the next couple of weeks as an investigation. It's not going away. It's still.
This is going to be going on for a while, and I wanted to bring that up just because my point before of just the fact that even I remember when the story first broke, and a lot of like the national news were like covering this, and I feel like it was almost like joked about in a way. And what I mean by that is like the headline would be something along the lines of Vince McMahon, blah blah blah. Hush money, blah, 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 giving the actual story. And then like in that same breath, they would start talking about like the character of Vince McMahon. And like, I think Inside Edition did a story on Vince. And towards the end of that story, they started playing clips from like WrestleMania 23 with Donald Trump to show like, his character and stuff. So I think that's pretty fascinating how the outside of the wrestling world's news is covering this. But when you look at things from inside the wrestling world, now you're starting to see that Vince, although in the earlier stages of this controversy was on TV religiously. Every show you would see Vince. Now you're starting to see him it's only been like 2 weeks now, but like you haven't seen Vince as much on TV. So he's taken a bit of a step back. Are you kind of noticing this too? Why do you think that's the response to this? Is it because there's more details being thrown out? So now it's kind of like, all right, now we need to kind of pump the brakes on all of this.
Yeah. Since the last appearance he did was it was on that Monday Night Raw when he introduced John Cena.
Yep, that was the last one.
And I think someone made a correlation to John Cena's promo as kind of like a response to Vince McMahon's introduction. Like basically, if you go back and watch that promo that John Cena did, and I remember J-Bone saying it was boring. It was like because he's expected to come out and just like maybe call someone out, but he was basically saying like, I think that was like in the beginning of that, like the allegations and all that stuff. So I think John Cena, if you go back and watch that, he was kind of answering questions on a positive note, essentially. Like, it's not about us, it's not about like the performance, it's about you guys, it's about the fans, that type of thing. But which is pretty much what the direction of his promo was. So I think he's just trying to like, hey, don't worry about like what's going on behind the scenes. Like worry about like, there's still people that have to come out here week to week and perform and perform for you guys, the fans.
Yeah.
So don't like dwell too much on like what's going on and with us personally. Like watch us, but watch us on TV. Don't watch us like behind the scenes.
It's almost like them saying like don't get involved in what's going on, which is such a weird approach if you really think about it. It's like them saying like let the grown-ups be grown-ups and you watch your little wrestling show.
Well, at the same time, you got to think a majority of WWE's fan base is like children. It's like it's still we're a little bit older. Obviously, we're older than like a lot of people watching it, but their fan base is mainly kids.
That's a very good point.
They don't want to hear about their parents talk about Vince McMahon doing this and that and all that stuff. And
exactly.
And like and the other part of that too is I think a lot of people like don't take it seriously because like you mentioned all the stuff that he did back in the Attitude Era. Yeah, so he kind of like
expected.
I don't want to say he covered his like bases, but he kind of put all that stuff out there that he's a creep and all that stuff, and he does like creepy old guy, preying on young women. Like he did that on TV, so it's like oh yeah, that's who he is. But
I feel like that's almost I don't even know if it's in a way it's hurting him, but it's like his perception, how people view his reputation, everything. But almost in a way, like Vince could be viewing this as it's almost helping him. Like, this is expected of the Vince McMahon character. Yeah, so, maybe this is why we're starting to see like the national news and everything kind of brushing this off to the side. This could be kind of Vince's mentality that, well, my character does it, so it'll be fine. I'll just keep being my character and everything will be fine.
Well, that's what he kind of said. Did you read that like the behind the scenes thing where after that announcement he said like he went back and said fuck him or something?
Fuck him.
Just fuck him. I guess the rest of it was like the show goes on, right? We got
to time to shake things up around here.
Well said. So look, before we move on, we do have a bit of a run in here that I want to get to. So we have a run in. And there he is.
Yes, and now I'm not the oldest person on the show. Yay.
I know. Now the average age has jumped up a little bit for our show. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Be nice.
I'm trying.
You're not trying hard enough.
I'll try harder. We have a long show ahead of us. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm here. I'm a little late, but I'm here.
No worries. You keep your title for tonight. Vince McMahon, $12 million. What do you think?
I don't have any of it.
I wish.
I'll just take a frash. I'd sleep with him for $12 million.
Tom, like you come in here and you just gotta say, you can't come in here and just start saying
the truth.
Do you have any actual thoughts on this?
I mean, it doesn't affect me. The guy is a scumbag. He needs to go.
That's one way to look at it. That's surely.
Yeah, and I think no, Tom's right. I mean,
do you wonder this? Have you ever wondered this? The person that he's sleeping with right now must be thinking, "Shit, what if this gets out? Or are they taking him for more money?"
Yeah,
that's very true. Tom, I mentioned before you came in, I was watching We're Live, Pal with Andrew Zarian, which is part of the Wrestling Observer radio show little network, and they mentioned something really interesting. Do you feel that if this was any other sports commissioner, president, like Roger Goodell, Adam Silver, Rob Manfred, that this would be a bigger deal than it is with Vince?
100%.
Yeah. Look what happened to Robert Kraft.
He made
a little visit at the massage parlor, and it became like a big thing.
That's very true as well. We were kind of mentioning that it's almost like them taking the wrestling aspect of it and kind of brushing it to the side, and not making it as big of a deal as it really should be. So I think that's an interesting way to look at it for sure. We have Ace Fields in the chat. He says, always interesting to me that Fox and Wall Street Journal are owned by the same media company. Conspiracy theorists have this as power grab by someone to take over. I don't buy it.
That's interesting, though.
Someone to take over the
WWE.
Company? Yeah, I mean, that's amongst wrestling fans too. Yeah, everyone thinks Nick Khan has this agenda against the McMahon family. He's just gonna take over the company and then sell it or something. That's kind of like the consensus, but
you can't just take over.
No, you can't. And again, Vince McMahon has a majority voting power. He doesn't have the most. Obviously, he doesn't have the most shares, but he has the majority voting. So
realistically, there's no way he could be voted out unless the only way he'll vote himself out is if Ed start pulling from the show.
So here's what's going to happen. What I think is the only way to do it is, like Anthony said, people aren't really taking this seriously because it's just like stories of him paying money out. Yeah. I think with the actual details of what happened between these women, like the actual stuff comes out, what happened between Vince and the women, not so much like the money being spent. That's when I think people will take it seriously.
Yeah.
When the actual when these women come forward or say
they're not going to. They signed NDAs. What would legally happen to them if they came forward if they signed an NDA? That's what I would love to know.
So maybe that's another reason why
How binding is an NDA like that?
I don't know. And then Anthony kind of brought that up, he comes out like nothing's wrong, nothing. He's not doing anything wrong, but at the same time, like Tom said, he has NDAs. Maybe that's why he's walking around like you can't do anything to me because these women signed agreements. So there's nothing. But like I said, I think the main thing is to find out if he used WWE funds. That's what I think. That's where the investigation really lies. And if that's the case, and they do find proof that he did, they can definitely get
rid of. If a paralegal gets her salary doubled, that's WWE funds.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, maybe that's what they're looking for to see if there was different
when they were
ways.
doing budget cuts.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Maybe that's why
that was one of the things that a lot of people mentioned earlier on was now maybe the budget cuts start to make more sense. But look, there's so much going into this. And
gotta pay off another one. Cut 10 more wrestlers today, Nick. This is a big one. Let the Fiend go.
All right.
Look, we said it. We've been saying it. We're going to keep saying it. This story is going to be ongoing, and the RAWDOWN is going to be covering it as we go along. So stay tuned with us as we have more information that comes to us. We'll be sure to report. I'm sure next week we'll have more news already about Vince. But until then, we're going to move on with the show. We have another big story that we've been following, and it seems to be towards the end of this story, and I do have to play the drop for it.
You're fired.
You're fired. I'm sorry. You're fired. Get out of here.
You're fired. I suppose you're fired. How the hell are you going to get fired on your day off?
You're fired.
Long-lasting saga of the former women's tag team champions Naomi and Sasha Banks seems to be towards a close, or at least the closest to a close that we've seen. It is now being reported that the internal roster has been that Naomi and Sasha have been scratched off the internal roster from the WWE, which usually means that they're finally done. There hasn't been a confirmation as to their release or departure, but as we've been seeing, and is the recent trend ever since the pandemic cuts and everything, there's not been an official announcement of any release, so you definitely weren't expecting to see anything for Naomi and Sasha here. But with the news of them being left off the internal roster, seems to be it for the Boss and Glow connection. Tom, I will start with you on this one. What do you feel about them, I would assume, officially being off the roster? And do you see any future for them in the wrestling world or outside of the wrestling world?
I wouldn't be shocked to see them pop up back in WWE next week. It'd be perfect. Like, for all these months, they're on the internal roster, and like you hear they're released. Now they like reach a deal to bring them back, and it's like, let's take them off the internal roster. Let's mess with everybody. Like, nothing would shock me in this world. They're gonna pop. I mean, I don't know where Naomi's gonna be, but I think Sasha will definitely pop up in AEW as Mercedes, and as she should. She deserves her run. If they don't come back to WWE, for all we know, it could have worked out a new deal.
Well, something that I've been saying for a while is that I'm more surprised that they let go of Naomi than Sasha. I mean, everything with the bloodline, Jimmy Uso, like, how does this impact the Usos linked with the bloodline and Roman? Like, are there any implications with this? There's a lot of working parts, but I guess that they finally just moved on from Naomi.
Listen, this is them sending a message. If you're going to listen to someone and follow what somebody else is doing, like we've seen Sasha do shit like this before. So now if she's going to bring Naomi with her, they're going to say, good, no room for you. You're going to go with her. Done. It'll make people think twice the next time somebody's going to go pair up with somebody and go running out the door with them.
Marco, I want to bring up a recent tweet that was posted. A little conversation was had on Twitter between Naomi and, of all people, Lince Dorado. If we all remember him from the Lucha House Party, he is now wrestling in MLW, which is an important thing to note, and a bunch of indies. And he basically asked, so when are we going to do some quote-unquote lucha things, which basically just means wrestling? And Naomi responds, ASAP. So this brings up the question of, Naomi, as soon as possible, wants to get back in the ring with a few people. Do you see this as, maybe she already has some landing spots? Of course, I just mentioned Lince Dorado with Major League Wrestling, Court Bauer, MLW. Do you see her working the indies? And I guess to go along with that, what do you see for Sasha? Would she work the indies? Would she go to AEW? What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I think you'll see Naomi in a different company before you see Sasha Banks. I think Sasha Banks is going to definitely take her time off. I think you're going to see her in a lot more like media type stuff than wrestling. Not that she's entirely done with wrestling, but I don't think Sasha Banks is going to rush right back to in-ring competition. Not that AEW is a downgrade by any means, but I think Sasha Banks is a little bit bigger than AEW. In pretty much most of those companies, I don't see her. I mean, she possibly could. Never say never in the world of wrestling, but for me, she hit the pinnacle with everything. What else can she do in the ring?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so I mean, Naomi, I could definitely see hopping to AEW or MLW, like you said, ROH, New Japan. She might show up in AAA. Who knows?
I think Sasha 100% shows up in AEW. She's friends with FTR. She sees all the fun those guys are having over there. 100%. If she's gone from WWE, she'll make a run there.
I would say AEW needs to get both of them with the state that their women's division is.
It'd be smart. Do they have the salary cap though?
That is That's true as
That's
well.
the other thing.
I feel like they really need to go after both of them. The common critique for AEW, and it's still a critique, is their women's division. They haven't put a lot of effort in towards making it as big as many feel it could be. They've enhanced it with certain names, Athena, Ember Moon, building up the likes of Jade, Britt Baker. But I feel like you're still missing a few impact players that could really put them over the edge. And if you get Sasha like that alone is going to give you a lot of star power. It's going to help you to cross over if you want to do mainstream. If you want to, approach in that regard. And I know that Tony Khan and AEW haven't really focused in on kind of the mainstream market. But if they wanted to, Sasha would be one of your first kind of big, prominent mainstream stars that have crossed over to doing TV and film and all of that. And Naomi is just another great hand to have. She is phenomenal in the ring, probably one of the more underrated wrestlers that the WWE had. They squandered on so many possible opportunities to really put her at the top of the women's division. As they did with Sasha, there was a few times, Tom, you've mentioned it, that she never won the big one, had the big moment. And although I disagree with you that it really hurts her legacy, I still feel like there were times where you could have put her at the top of the card and kept her there. Perfect example of that is this past WrestleMania, where it was apparently planned to be Sasha versus Charlotte, and then Ronda came in, threw all those plans off. But I think there's definitely some room for both of these women in AEW. I feel like these are the two that they should really be gunning for if they want to put their women's division over the edge. And it gives some great contenders for both Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill. And I think Thunder Rosa needs them more because I feel like they're doing a lot to build up Jade's TBS title. Whereas you have Sasha versus Thunder, Thunder versus Naomi, great matches all around. I'm excited to see them in AEW.
Sasha versus DMD is like a dream match waiting to happen right there.
I mean, there's so many of them. Even some of like the names that you wouldn't think of, like Chris Statlander, Tay Conti, all of these names that we haven't gotten to see. Sasha and Naomi go up against. So I feel like this is the ideal landing spot for them. But I do feel like Naomi would be more open to working the indies. I don't know if Sasha would be.
I mean, I think just Sasha, I just think she's probably, like I said, I don't think she's in a rush back to wrestling personally. I think she's gonna play the field, so to speak, as far as being in movies and shows and all that stuff. And I think that AEW needs to work on their women's division before they are capable to have a likes of a Sasha or a Naomi first and foremost. The other part of that is too, they're going to have to consider the fact that they're going to have to pay-per-view they're going to have to main event a pay-per-view at some point. And I don't think AEW is ready to put women at the end of a pay-per-view personally.
Do you feel like Sasha Banks being added to AEW helps that?
I think so. But then at the same time, it doesn't automatically mean, hey, we have Sasha Banks, let's put her in the main event.
That's true. You got to build her up.
One of our biggest pay-per-views. Like I'm thinking that if she's on a sign, she's expecting to main event a pay-per-view. And I don't see AEW doing that anytime soon for some reason. I just don't see them having women main event just yet.
I have one just quick thought, and then I want to send it to Tom. I want you to give me some more thoughts on this. But one thing that I know that it's kind of frowned upon with AEW's constant signings and bringing in all these guys so close to each other. I think the main reason why I'm not very keen with the way that AEW approaches bringing in all these talent is because I've always kind of believed that when you bring in a certain wrestler, be it calling them up from developmental or signing them to your company, there has to be like a set spot for them, be it at the top of the card or be it as a lower mid-carder close to a jobber. There needs to be a set space for you to add someone, like a necessity that you need to add to your roster, and that certain wrestler is going to fill that need. For me, Sasha and Naomi are exactly what AEW is needing in that women's division. Contenders for the champions, star power to put them over the edge, potential main eventers. This is kind of what they're looking for. So if they want to add another signing, these are the two that they should be going for. Tom, any other thoughts on this?
I don't think Naomi winds up in AEW, but I bet you Sasha does.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sasha is definitely the number one contender right now, if you want to put it that way. But as long as they
have a whole story with Sasha and Britt without it even involving a title.
Yeah, you could do a full, few years of Sasha storylines with, the amount of dream matches that you have alone. Like, I would love to see Sasha in AEW, and Naomi could be a great sleeper pick as well. But this seems to be the last of our Sasha and Naomi discussions. Of course, until they sign back next week, like Tom is saying.
Yeah.
But until then, I do want to go to the comments real quick because chat is lighting it up as per usual. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Freems is in the chat. He says, Vince just paid me my hush money check. I hope I'll get mine in the mail shortly. Tyson is in the chat. Thank you for joining us. And I also mentioned Acefield. Acefield is here as well. Great convo about Vince. Thank you very much. Tyson mentions AEW already has a Mercedes in Mercedes Martinez.
Exactly.
But Acefield brings up a very good point. They have two Brodies. They have two cages, one cage, bunch of Adams.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have two Mercedes.
100%.
That would be fine. Freems also says Sasha's going Hollywood, you nerds. Yeah, I think that's where she's going.
I heard that Mandalorian said they're not taking her back.
I feel like I remember them saying that Sasha wasn't
much on
the next season. I don't know. Did anyone ever watch The Mandalorian? I watched some episodes of it, but I never got into it.
It was a good show.
Did you enjoy it? All right, good.
Yeah, I really did.
We also have Ace saying Naomi on the Indies would be amazing. Would love her in GCW.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she would really be a great asset to any company that she goes to.
Doing some death matches. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I mean, she teased at the intergender wrestling with Lindsay Dorado. So this could open the door for a lot of different sides to Naomi and Sasha that
maybe she can fight. She can have a match with Nick Gage. Intergender match with Nick Gage. You think her husband would approve of that? Well, actually, no. We kind of skipped on the bloodline thing. I mean, that's huge, man. She walked out on. I mean, she walked out on the company first and foremost. She obviously walked out with Sasha, and you got to think like it might look all like sweet and kittens and puppies and stuff like that on TV, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if
I could see which one is she married to? Jimmy be going to Vince. Oos, I don't know. I don't control it, Oos. Not on me.
Acknowledge me.
Man, she wouldn't listen. She went on her own. I told her to stay. I told her to come back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Thank you for your good impression, Tom.
I mean, if anything, the consolation would be they lose at SummerSlam, and I think I predicted also a rematch for the Street Profits at SummerSlam, which is actually
is there any world where the Usos get punished for this?
I think they lose their titles at SummerSlam.
So you think like this is in correlation to Naomi?
No, not necessarily. I just think it's
just because they're going to lose
to win. If not, it's going to be a monster heel turn for Montez Ford, or they're going to break up at some point. But I don't know.
We'll talk about that. We'll get to that in a future episode closer to SummerSlam. Back to the comments though. Chad is in the chat. He says, keep Britt out a little longer, have her return, get in the ring, cut a promo. Sasha interrupts, instant feud. Great debut.
100%.
Yeah, like I said, you could do so many amazing feuds with Sasha coming into AEW. So the more the merrier. Just book her right.
Can you imagine Britt saying, "You can come here and cry and leave when you don't get your way"? That'd be epic.
That's why we gotta give you the pen. Freem says, "Oh, hear me out. Sasha drives a Mercedes in Fast and Furious 59. Are they going to be in space in this one, or are they going to leave the galaxy? That's for another time. It's all about family." Mike Belcaster says, "Mandalorian rocks." I haven't seen Obi-Wan yet. I have to watch that.
Obi-Wan is good too.
I have to watch that this week.
Watch it all in a row.
Watch it
it
all in
more
a
like
row?
a movie. Yes, they say it's better that way.
All right. Acefield, and then we'll get back to the show after this comment. Acefield says Usos don't get punished for DUIs. I can't imagine they get punished for this. Feels like they get pushed despite anything happening. Also,
I
Eddie,
can't
if you
control
could
it,
switch-
Roos. It's not on me.
Tom loves that impression.
It's a good impression.
Oh my god.
He's gotta puke! He's gotta puke!
All right, time to get back into the meat and potatoes of.
How I go from talking to Jeremy to talking to young Anthony?
It's just the mysteries in
It's an
life.
upgrade. All right, Tom. That's an upgrade. All right.
It is a very, very big upgrade. Jeremy Padour was on Fig Night, ladies and gentlemen. Make
It's
sure
like
you go
Windows
check it out.
Vista all over again.
Damn. Wow.
All right, let's get back into the swing of things. We have another kind of leaving the company situation to discuss, or do we? It was reported by good old Dave Meltzer that Io Shirai was basically out the door when it came to her contract with the WWE and NXT. However, Io Shirai gets on Twitter right after Meltzer mentions this, and she just puts rumors with, I believe it was the eye rolling emoji.
Always gotta believe Uncle Dave.
So this gives us the idea that perhaps Io Shirai won't be leaving after all. Brian Alvarez was on Wrestling Observer today, and he said that that's what Dave mentioned. That's what they know. So obviously there's still belief that she could be leaving, but Io presumably shot that down. Tom, Tom, we already started with you. I'll start with Marco on this one. Because Marco, you actually watch NXT more often, and I always felt like Io was just never, and I feel like this
You
goes
could have
without
watched
saying.
NXT for 5 minutes and it would have been more often.
Marco, I feel like this goes without saying, but Io was not and is not a fit in this new 2.0. So it's surprising me that now we're talking about her leaving, whereas I feel like she should have been called up months ago.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all of this Io Shirai, discussion, and what do you see as the future for her?
Yeah, if you watch NXT 2.0, you definitely don't see her character fitting in. She seemed more like the black and gold brand type, like really dark and and I mean she did go through a character change when she was in the black and gold brand. She was more upbeat, more of like a baby face, and then she made the switch to heel. That she could be getting a repackage. You never know. She could show up on NXT 2.0 in a different,
Show up on the main roster too.
Yeah, or show up on the main roster. That's another point. You have Summer.
She doesn't look happy.
I know this is the audio version. I'm just laughing at the picture of Io Shirai. That
It's probably her reaction to reading Meltzer's tweet.
It's a good pop right there. But I mean, first and foremost, I mean, I'm not going to say don't listen to Dave Meltzer, but when you have someone immediately come back, the person that you're actually talking about, I would believe that person more than anything. And there's you've seen it. There's times where if you ever watch like Total Divas or see any of those like behind the scenes shows, it's like there's no the storylines that are like going on right now don't really involve Io just yet. They could just be waiting for some type of storyline to get her back in, or a way to reintroduce her to the new NXT 2.0 crowd. So, I think it's good that they're actually establishing these like the newer people, so you get to familiarize yourself with them. So then you get that reintroduction, like Apollo Crews. We all know who Apollo Crews is. He disappeared for a while off the main roster, right? There was no rumor saying, "Oh, he got released." I mean, obviously, he's not like the greatest. Like, he's a good mid card guy, but it wasn't like, "Oh, he's going to AEW," or he's being released or whatever. He just showed up on NXT 2.0 as his regular Apollo Crews, not the king of whatever it was before.
That was one of the worst gimmick changes ever.
Yeah, so it could be the same with Io Shirai. She could either show back up on NXT 2.0 a new gimmick, or show up on the main roster. Who knows? But I'm a fan. I liked her. I I was a fan of her and Ricochet going back and forth. I think it was like last year
They
or
wrestled?
earlier this year. Did you see that on Twitter?
Oh, on Twitter.
About basically Ricochet said something like he can outperform, EO because she's the genius of the sky, right? So he's saying he was a better high flyer than her. And remember, I got into an argument with, or kind of like a dispute, saying like, you can't say that because they don't. For the women, they don't. She doesn't really get to do all the high flying stuff that she could do.
Right.
And he has that liberty to do so, and that's what his gimmick is.
Saying Ricochet is better than Io Shirai is just
yeah.
Well, that ain't a knee slapper, buddy.
And that was my argument. I'm like, you don't know she's done some crazy ass high flying stuff, man. I mean, and
she's great.
If you
she's
see
one
her
of the
other
best
stuff, too.
in-ring talents that they have in
yeah.
the WWE.
Yeah, I don't think they want to lose her. I mean, I definitely love to see her show up on the main roster, and maybe partner with like a Asuka or something like that, and just to get her feet wet or whatever. And I mean, hopefully not a what was her name? The other her partner there when they were the
Kairi
Sane.
Kairi Sane. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't end up like that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
we just mentioned it. Tom, what do you say?
Like being pushed under the ring with a concussion.
Yeah.
Remember?
I do remember that pandemic era. We were just talking about it before. You just lose Sasha and Naomi, two of your best women's talents. I feel like it would be incredible for them to lose not only Sasha and Naomi, but the already lost Paige as well. That's something that we also have to mention. I don't even know if we talked about that on the RAWDOWN. That Paige is gone as well. But yeah, Paige is gone as well. And to lose Io on top of that, that's four in-ring talent. There's four in-ring talent that you would lose.
In-ring talent in years, unfortunately, due to her injury.
Yeah, I mean, there's still possibility. She says that she still wants to, be back in the ring. I could see it happening for sure.
For sure.
But to lose out on those four specifically, at a time that I feel that all four could be considered as best, in the women's division, some of the best in-ring talent the WWE have ever seen. To lose out, especially on Io that we're talking about right now, would just be criminal for them. I don't know how they didn't bring her up when the time was right. I know that she's been injured, but now with the switch of 2.0, you've seen them bring up Ciampa. You've seen them bring up all these different names that were more of the black and gold era. Of course, some of them haven't been as successful as others. But I feel like it's a different case for Io because with a roster that is so thin, you kind of need her to step up and you need her to be this really prominent in-ring talent. And if you throw her on Raw, you throw her on SmackDown, it doesn't matter. She's going to be a force to be reckoned with regardless. So if they get rid of her or they let her walk, it's not going to be good for them. Tom, what are your thoughts?
I don't really know anything about her. I think I've seen her in the Royal Rumble. So, but
Right.
if she's a good female talent, bring her up to the main roster. They can use all the female talent they can get up there.
Yeah, former NXT Women's Champion a couple times. So yeah, I mean,
there you go.
She's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely a big loss if she definitely if she leaves. But hopefully her her response to Dave was basically just like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
just
but we'll wait on this. Obviously, things aren't set in stone yet. Once we get more of a word, then we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll have to play the little "you're fired" bumper. But for now, we will leave it alone. Because, gentlemen, do you know what time it is?
Raw.
Close, Tom. It's time for the lightning round. It's my favorite segment and yours. We have 30 seconds.
Ready?
Yes, please get the clock ready. We have 30 seconds to discuss a quick little topic we didn't want to get too much into because we have so much other stuff to talk about. And this only needs a good 30 seconds each. And for the second week in a row, Natalya is on the lightning round. I believe that this is the second week in a row. I could be wrong. But for the second time, we're talking about Natalya in the lightning round. So this was a developing story that is I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but at a live event this past Saturday, it was a triple threat. Natalya, Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It ended with Liv Morgan pinning Natalya after she did her, I believe it's called the Oblivion. She did the move, pinned her 1, 2, 3. Natalya jumps back up to her feet, points at Liv Morgan, says something that no one could, figure out what she said, walks out of the ring, and Liv Morgan is left in the ring to celebrate. So now this is having people believe that this could be, her, no selling for her. There could be some heat. Apparently things have been settled, and Natalya was just saying like something about respect or whatever. But it wouldn't be RAWDOWN without a little controversy. So it's time to talk about this in the lightning round. Marco, would you like to start us off?
Sure.
Marco, you were going to start us off. Tom, get the timer going.
All right. Ready?
All right. So, Natty no sell. She definitely no selled. I guess she actually tweeted about it. And then she deleted it. She tweeted something like, "Oh, I said thank you to her," or something like that, and then she ended up deleting the tweet. But that's I think she just there must have definitely been something going on during the match. It looked clean. The finisher move, I didn't see any botches, so who knows? What? But I just want to add this too before we move on.
What?
He doesn't understand the lightning now.
No,
30 seconds. It's 30 seconds.
Wait, it's Uncle Dave though. I got to tell you what Uncle Dave says about this.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it.
He says, he goes, "It had nothing to do with Liv Morgan at all, whatever it was. I don't know exactly what the situation was. I know there was a situation. I know that it was cleared up immediately." And he, again, that's...
I know there was a situation. I know that the situation got cleared up. It had to do with Liv. It didn't have to do with Liv. It was partly from Natalya. Maybe Ronda was involved. Like, come on.
Water
if you don't know the situation, just say it.
There's a woodchuck.
Tom, would you like to go next, or would you like me to
go next? All right.
Go ahead.
So, Natty was really pissed that Liv is so much over than she'll ever be. So she just started yelling at her after the match, and that was it.
Perfect.
Damn!
Nobody cares about you, Natty. Go home. I mean,
you can't even get your own button right. Look at you. All right. Get my timer ready. Here I go.
You ready? Go.
All right. When I saw the video, I knew that there was something up. For her to no-sell a finishing move, it's different than Natalya just saying that she got a quick one over her, because it was literally a finishing move. It wasn't a roll-up. So for her to pop back up and to walk out of the ring is different from her being rolled up and then leaving the ring. She got pinned. She got the finisher on her. So there's something here. I believe it. And that's all I have to say.
Damn!
So there's more to the story, if you will. All right. So that was fun. Nice little segment every now and then for a little lightning round. Let's get to some quick comments before we move on. We have Mike Belcaster is still in the chat with us. He says, "I haven't watched Obi-Wan yet, but I bet it's a great time." I have not yet either, and I will be watching that. I don't know if I can watch it this weekend. Maybe Friday. We'll see. Mike Belcaster also said the balls and walls. I don't know what that's referring to, but all right. Acefield says Uncle Dave is the truth. Well, after that tweet that you just heard from Dave himself,
I don't know what the situation is, but there was a situation that happened.
I don't know what the situation was, but there was a situation involving Liv Morgan, not involving Liv Morgan. It could be involving Liv Morgan. Who knows? So
the sky is blue.
Although he did redeem himself, and he said that the lightning round is a lot of fun. It's a good segment. I like the little lightning round thing that we do here. And Mo the Fig God is in the chat, and he says, "Damn, damn indeed." All righty, folks, it is time to get back into the swing of things. We have another fun segment to get to, and it's time to get inside the ring. Ring the bell, because it is time for
collar and elbow
Elbow. It's time to
Did
talk
we-
about the news from the wild week of WWE inside of the squared circle. Tom, you look perplexed, confused. What do you have to say?
I'm
No, I'm waiting for questions because
I'm confused. Did we ever find out if that was Nick Storm that does that? Cola and elbow. Did he do that?
We did
or-
never figure that out.
Yeah.
If you're a member of the tavern and you recorded the collar and elbow, please put it in the chat so Marco can sleep peacefully.
Yeah, I need to know this.
We need to know. All right, time to get into the collar and elbow. Let's start things off by something that happened yesterday on Raw. He's here to show the world. He's here to show the world. During the main event tag team match on Monday Night Raw between Seth Rollins and Theory versus Bobby Lashley and Riddle, Dolph Ziggler randomly comes out in the middle of the match, sits at ringside, and cost Theory the match. Theory tried to put his feet on the ropes. Dolph Ziggler was having none of it, pushed his feet off the ropes, which led to Riddle winning. And then Ziggler hits a big zigzag on Austin, no longer Austin Theory. So now this is confusing. Dolph Ziggler, who was involved in a tag team with Robert Roode called the Dirty Dogs, a former NXT champion, Dolph Ziggler, that is, came back. I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago, was in had a little bit of a face run, it seems, with Robert Roode. Looked like they were going to feud with Omos, and then didn't see them for a while. Now Ziggler's back in a suit and cost Theory the match. Marco, what is going on with Dolph Ziggler?
Make it make sense. I have no clue.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I don't know. I mean, I always love seeing Dolph Ziggler on the screen. If you listen to Chick Foley show, you know the Chick Foley show we're all big fans of Dolph Ziggler. We like to see more. We love his NXT run. He became NXT champion for that short while, and then obviously lost it to get called back up to the main roster. But yeah, I mean, it could be a short feud between now and SummerSlam. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. We won't know until we actually hear, you know, what he has to say, why he did what he did. Is it going to be one of those? It should have been me. Promos?
It should have been me.
It should have been me. I love that gimmick. Or when he came out with no music, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he started coming out with other people's
entrances. I was sick. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I think they're just feeding. I've seen a lot of people going, "Oh, Theory's buried because he got pinned," but that doesn't mean he still has the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Well, hold those thoughts because that's another topic for later on. But look, let me just say that Dolph Ziggler, I like Dolph. I think he's really great in the ring. One of the best sellers of our time. I feel like with Dolph, it's always start and stop for him. Like I was there when he won the world title, cashed in Money in the Bank night after WrestleMania 29. Still to this day, one of the best cash-ins of all time. And, you know, obviously he got a concussion and everything, so they kind of pumped the brakes. But after that, like, it's always been Dolph Ziggler, to me, was perceived by the WWE as just a guy that you could slot in when needed. Like, oh, we need a challenger for Kofi to face for the WWE Championship. Throw Dolph in there for a few months. Why not? Oh, we need someone to make Goldberg look good. Throw Dolph in there. Why not? You know, it was never like, let's put all of our eggs in one basket with Dolph Ziggler and we'll just push him to the moon like people were expecting to see around the time of the Authority. You know, he was the last man remaining in that Survivor Series match. People thought he was going to get a push, and then he just goes back down the card. A consistently great Intercontinental champion, but was never that world champion. Now it seems like he's fitting more into the veteran role. I'm expecting to see a feud with Theory. I don't know how this fits in with SummerSlam. Tom, what are your thoughts on all of this? Do you see the potential of adding Ziggler into the United States title match to make it a triple threat at SummerSlam?
I don't want to see a triple threat match. They always do triple threat matches, but I love the idea of seeing Dolph being in a prominent role.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, if it's something that's good for him, You know, he deserves it. He's been around for so long, and maybe he does cut the promo like, "Hey, this should be me. Why are you be given a chance? I've worked my ass off for 15 years being here. As part of the Green Group. What the hell are they called?
The Spirit Squad.
Oh, the Spirit Squad. Yes.
Their names. Like, I came in with them. I've busted my ass since then, and you come in and you just get to walk right in. No. Like, pay your dues, boy. Like, something like that would be fun.
Yeah, I can see that. I could definitely see you know, where Randy Orton's gone. They definitely need that veteran type role on Raw, like you said, that go-to guy, and he's definitely that. He could definitely put on a match if you need. I mean, like you said, he's one of the best workers that they have there.
He'll make Theory look great.
He'll make and Theory himself is an awesome worker. Like let's not undermine Theory in the ring, man. He's definitely getting better on the mic, cutting promos. He's really playing up to that, you know, that like snarky, like shitty heel character. The brat that gets everything he, you know, so desires with you know, Vinnie Mac's blessing and stuff like that. So he's playing that up really well.
Between Theory and a young Dolph Ziggler, that could also be a good outlook on a story.
Yeah,
you know, the wiser Dolph Ziggler now coming back in that veteran role, kind of seeing some of himself in Theory. I could dig this story. I wish they didn't rush it. I wish we could have seen this kind of after SummerSlam. But who knows? Maybe Theory will be world champion by that point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who knows? Any other thoughts on Dolph before we move on?
No.
I think he needed that Kofi Mania type run at one point. If they could have pulled it off, I think that would definitely have benefited him because, like you said, he definitely had that awesome cash in for the world title, but not the WWE Championship. And I think he needed that.
Never did.
They just never did. I mean, I didn't think they were going to do it Kofi, but obviously, you know what happened with Ali. And who's to say like Ali would have even won the WWE Championship or anything like that? A lot of people like speculating, saying like, "Oh, if he didn't get injured, he would have been in that position."
I never believed that, honestly.
No, he was never going to be given that.
No, I don't,
because of how it organically took off.
Yeah, and that whole storyline, like with Kofi, you know, him going through the gauntlet matches, and then you know the New Day taking in those gauntlet matches as well, and you know that whole like build up, like him being not the, you know, he's a B+ player or whatever, and he was never that good and all that stuff.
It's one of the best Mania stories in the last 5 years, I would say.
I think Ziggler needed that to, like, Ziggler could have definitely had a storyline like that.
Yeah.
He just didn't have the
multiple chances for him to get that story, and the WWE just never pulled the trigger.
Yeah. I think it was because he doesn't have the supporting characters to move that along too. Like Kofi had Big E and Xavier Woods as kind of like those guys, like, you know, don't give up, man.
Sure.
And then at the same time going, man, we should just give up. Like this is not going to happen. But then like, and then you see the result. Like who would have done that with Dolph Ziggler? Like who, like would have been like that? Like, you know,
the Green Group. The Green Group would have done it. Like, that's a really good point. But like to kind of counteract that, like at the same time, Daniel Bryan didn't really have anyone kind of backing him up in his little road to WrestleMania. So you could have done it. I'm sure there was a way that you could book it.
I mean, he had the fans. He had like the whole yes. And
all right, yeah,
like,
I'll give you that.
Dolph Ziggler doesn't have like a yes chant or like a cool like saying or anything like that. He's kind of like,
should have been me. The whole crowd. It should have been me.
Yeah, he didn't really have like a gimmick. Like if he had like a good gimmick that the fans can get behind, I think they would have won with it. But I don't know, man. He's always a missed opportunity, dude. He's so good.
Always.
And then
we'll never get it.
I don't know.
Well, until then, it is time to talk about Maximum.
Oh, yay! I didn't get to talk about this.
So something that we hadn't talked about last week, completely forgot to mention this. It is time to titillating the juices of your guilty pleasure. It is time to titillate some juice, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what the RAWDOWN does.
Where's Hawk when we need him?
I don't know if we want Hawk titillating any of our juices. Max Dupri has finally made his debut.
You said it wrong.
And so did
his younger brother.
It's Max Dupri. That's how you say it. You don't say Max Dupri.
Max Dupri. Max
Dupri.
Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit?
Finally used that one. There it is.
Yay! Finally.
Shout out to J-Bone on that one. All right. So Max Dupri is here, and so is Mace and Mansoor. Mace and Mansoor are now a part of Maximum Male Models. We have seen 2 segments of the Triple M, I guess we'll call them. They debuted last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. And last week they debuted their tennis outfits. So it seems like this is what we'll be getting for the next few weeks. Tom, what do you think about Max Dupri? Are you a fan of this early on from what we're seeing?
Yes, I watched SmackDown.
Oh, really?
I was working Friday night. I mean, I know nothing about it. I have 0.
Really? You know nothing about the Maximum Male Models?
I saw it pop up on my screen and I just scrolled right past it.
I don't blame you. Marco, take the floor.
I'm enjoying it. I like it. It's a nice little breakup from and we've talked about how horrible SmackDown has been. And I think something like this kind of brings a little bit of hope back into it. Like it's entertaining. I think it's fun. I'm just trying to figure out who's going to be the tag team or the person to actually, destroy one of these sets. That's what I'm looking most forward to, is who's going to be that person to just interrupt this whole thing and, start the feud with these two. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. It's sports entertaining. I was actually watching my wife and she was like, she's like, what the hell is this? I was like, it's Maximum Male Models.
It's obviously it's Maximum Male Models. Come on now.
They're showing their tennis line right now. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I'm just waiting to see who interrupts it. That's all. That's the blow off of this.
That'll definitely be. I mean, who would you book to be in the first Maximum Male Models feud?
I don't know if it's going to be a tag team or if it's just going to be a single person, a returning person. I don't know who's out right. I can't think of anyone that's out right now that can make a return and put an end to Max Dupri and his.
I feel like I would go with just a safe pick with the New Day. I feel like this is something up their alley to.
You can go New Day. You can go Veer.
Veer.
He just shows up and just destroys everybody on the. That'd be pretty funny, but I don't know. We'll see. Or Goldberg return.
Yeah, Goldberg. That could be it too.
Tom didn't like that.
What I'll say is, I didn't watch last week. I did watch 2 weeks ago, and I don't know. I mean, a lot of people like it. I know that it's supposed to be taken with a grain of salt, lighthearted sports entertainment, but I don't know. I didn't love the first little segment. It kind of dragged on a little bit. Yeah, it was a bad first impression for me. Maybe the tennis gear will, titillate my juices or whatever he's saying. Also, you cannot tell me anyone other than Vincent Kennedy McMahon came up with the line titillating the juices of your guilty pleasure. No one else touched that line. This is Vince McMahon. This whole gimmick is Vince McMahon in a nutshell.
This was the role for Adam Cole.
You don't think that's a Pritchard?
Wait, say that again, Tom.
This was the role for Adam Cole that he turned down.
Oh God, could you imagine? And Keith Lee was the model.
Oh man, actually, you know what?
I'm thinking that you're gonna be wearing those tennis gears.
Are you talking to me?
What was I say? You don't think that's a Pritchard? That could be a Pritchard thing too.
No, this is 100. I could see Vince guiding Max Dupri LA Knight in these promos. You gotta feel it. You gotta really titillate the juices. You gotta make me feel. You gotta juice the balls.
We'll make movies.
It's so ridiculous. It just makes me laugh. That's why I think I'm entertained by it. It's just the most outlandish thing ever on SmackDown. That's why I think it's entertaining to me. I just think it's fun. It's ridiculous. It's I don't know. It's just funny. And then
It'll work.
Mansoir
It'll
and
be
their
fine.
names, how they have them written, and like the way they're pronounced is I don't know. It's just funny, dude. The
funniest
presentation
part
makes
of
me
it
laugh.
all is on Twitter. Whoever the social media manager is for WWE couldn't even get the little symbols and everything right.
Oh
on
yeah,
the name. They misspelt it because of how ridiculous it is. It is.
But
hysterical.
what they should do is, Max Dupri should actually respond back to like that tweet and say they're not coming out next week because their names weren't spelled correctly. Like that'd be funny, dude. Like
there's so much you can do to play around with this game.
Was it me? Was it me that actually did this? I mean, that was like an idea that
could be.
It was Maximum Male Models, M's, Marco, MV. I mean, I could have some.
You guys remember Renee Goulet?
Renee Goulet.
No. Yes.
From the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had like a glove on, a stinky glove. He did the claw.
Yeah. Look at
dinosaur talk. I gotta tap out.
And we'll do another old guy talk. Even they've had models on before. Rick the Model, Martel.
Ico Pro. When are we getting an Ico Pro reference?
I mean, we could say Ico Pro, I guess, but I mean, there's been models. I've seen models before in WWE.
Of course.
So come on, it's not.
His arrogance cologne. It was amazing.
Yeah. And he used to use it to win matches. He used to spray it and blind everyone. And then he
had to fight Jake the Snake in a blindfold match.
Yeah, come on.
Are we just gonna redo the entire Rick the Model Martel gimmick with this? Also, something I just realized: Mace and Mansoor both start with M for Maximum Male Models.
And Max, Max, Mace, Mansoor.
I didn't even catch that.
You gotta read into it, man. It's
yeah, I gotta read into the Maximum Male Models. I feel the juices titillating already.
We could be Maximum Male Models, all three of us.
Well, you could be. You got the M's already. MVP Marco.
Oh yeah, it's true.
That's true.
Well, until then, Max Dupri, we shall see. Before we get into the last little bit of the collar and elbow, just got a little few comments that I want to get into. I gotta scroll all the way up for this. Mike Belcaster says, "I forgot what balls and walls was meant, but all the love." Right back at you, Mike. Acefield says, Dolph challenging Big Show for the most face to heel turns back to back. But I was stoked to see him back. He always entertains. We got a pop for the green group. What's the green group doing in the Impact Zone? Nick Storm can't legally confirm if he recorded the bumper for collar and elbow. So I guess the world will never know. Acefield says, good point about that, Marco. Didn't even consider Ali would have lost to Bryan at Mania. So interesting to see where Bryan's run would have ended then. That's a good point. The green group sounds like a vegan organization. Got you there. Nick Storm also says, keep Hawk far away from my juices. Acefield says, Ziggler may go down as one of the most underrated and underappreciated world champions in the history of wrestling. Never got his run, but deserves it.
I'll say this. I don't think he's ever been underrated and underappreciated, but he's definitely underutilized.
Yes.
I think people do appreciate how great he is.
Yeah.
That's a good call. I wouldn't say he is the most underrated world champions, just because to me, Ziggler was never defined by the world championship. It just so happens that he was a world champion. I feel like he is, Intercontinental champion, all the US champion, Money in the Bank holder. But because of that concussion, to me, never really screamed out like he was an underrated world champion. But I think Tommy put it best, definitely underutilized. I like this a lot, says Acefield. Max Dupri is one of the few guys that can make anything work. That's a good point. He definitely is making this work. It's taking what he's given, similar to Elias and Ezekiel. Instead of crying about the goofy storylines, goes out and makes the best of it. Everyone waxes poetic about early 90s stuff, but this stuff is straight from that. This kind of stuff has always had its place in WWE, a mix of Rene Dupree and Rick Martel. We just need to accept WWE is more this and less pro wrestling. It's that sports entertainment, pal.
WWE is still improving lately. It's way better than it was a year ago. It's
we talked about it last week.
If the show's going to be entertaining, Raw is very entertaining every week.
Yeah,
Reviews have been off the charts. So
yeah,
that's a good point. We talked about it last week. I feel like WWE is in a much better spot with, building up these younger talent, these, new characters and everything than they were a while ago. So I'm glad to see all of this. If you want to compare the pro wrestling and the sports entertainment, all of that.
Are we done with collar and elbow yet? Or
no, we have 2 more quick topics to discuss, and then we'll be done.
All right. Hopefully, all right. We'll see if I'm going to bring a topic in if we don't talk about it real quick.
All right. Well, we'll run through these little topics, and then we'll get to your topic as well. Just getting back into collar and elbow now. It was reported that only 13 minutes of actual pro wrestling in the ring happened on SmackDown. I went back to look at the cage match statistics, and you had like Drew McIntyre and Butch was 2 minutes. Ronda and Natalya was 2 minutes. You got a lot of promo. Obviously, we had the Maximum Male Models that we talked about. So only 13 minutes. So Tom, you just mentioned in the comment section, little part of this, that as long as there's, good storytelling, and all of this, it works, basically along the lines of that. When you see something like this, that only 13 minutes of actual wrestling is on the show, does this kind of change your perception on that?
I mean, I wish it was a little more, but I'll say this. When I want to watch pro wrestling, I'll watch Wednesday nights. When I want to watch sports entertainment, I can watch Monday and Fridays.
Can I bring up real quick?
Pro wrestling.
I might be the only person that doesn't split pro wrestling and sports entertainment. To me, everything is sports entertainment. It's a sport, and it's for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes and no. I agree with what you're saying. You're not wrong. I definitely don't think you're wrong. However, there is definitely more pro wrestling on Wednesday night and more of a sports entertainment value on Monday and Friday.
That's true. I mean, to me, I'll just say like
it's more sporty on Wednesday night.
Yeah, there's more in-ring action on AEW, and there's more segments and entertainment value.
And Wednesday nights is more like the wrestling I loved as a kid. Like matches that mean something, grudge matches, steel cage matches. You put them in a steel cage nowadays in WWE, it makes no sense without the blood. As a kid, we loved steel cage matches because you knew you were going to see blood. You knew it was something special was going down. Now they just do a random steel cage match on Raw, no blood or whatever. Like, I just don't love that. I don't feel that.
Yeah, well, the PG era definitely changed up a lot of the blood restrictions.
Remember
and all
a few
of that.
months ago, maybe it was like 6 months ago, we saw a couple guys blading in WWE. Remember Elias did it? Maybe it was a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, maybe open up the hard way, but there was even a time during.
There was a couple of times within about a year ago that WWE was letting guys bleed, and then they stopped it right away, like after a couple months.
In 2015, like they were so strict about the blood that they would stop matches in between just to, control. Like they did it in Samoa Joe and his match in NXT.
But I don't even have a problem with that because at least it makes it seem a little more legit. Even
I kind of like it. It gives a more of a legit feel.
Yeah.
Marco, what are you feeling about this 13 minutes of actual wrestling on the card?
I don't know. I feel like there was more, but I mean, obviously, if someone's
entertained throughout the whole show.
Yeah, true.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 hours. I mean, they got to get a lot of story in there as well, a lot of backstage stuff. It seems like what WWE is doing now, besides obviously Raw, because it's 3 hours and you see a lot more wrestling on Raw. It seems like they're using Raw and SmackDown as kind of like the story movers, and then the pay-per-view is where you see premium live event is where you see all the action. That's what it seems like anyway, because you don't see any, because I was at fair point. I was actually every night this week for some odd reason. I've been watching all the SummerSlams, not like every single one, mainly like the early 2000s. I didn't go really like in the 90s and the 80s or anything like that, but there was a lot of backstage stuff during those pay-per-views at the time. Like there was a lot of like backstage segments to move. Like they basically use like the pay-per-view to continue the storyline that they were doing in like SmackDown and Raw. And obviously the brand split was happening back then. So you had like ECW, ECW Raw and SmackDown. So you had, different storylines happening and intersecting. So they really had to like utilize like the pay-per-view time to like push those stories or continue. But it seems like what they're doing now, like I said, with SmackDown and Raw, is using that TV time to tell the stories, and then the premium live event is what is the actual like wrestling part of it. Because you hardly ever see any like backstage segments on those events anymore. Like you don't see any like, any goofy shenanigans happening and all that stuff. It's usually saved for TV.
Yeah,
and then
like
get,
little quick promos or something.
Yeah, you get the premium live event, and that's like that's where you're going to see the meat and potatoes of, the matches and stuff like that. So I think they're kind of moving in that direction where those shows are going to be like treated as such, just shows.
Yeah,
like
there's definitely more of an emphasis on the pay-per-views, premium live events, whatever you want to call them. I don't mind it, but it also makes me feel like, Raws and SmackDowns are almost like meaningless by that point.
And the other thing too, you got to think of is AEW. They don't travel; they travel for the shows. They don't do house shows. Where WWE does a ton of house shows, so there is wrestling happening. We just don't see it.
I would also wait. What was I going to say? Shit. I don't remember. Just slipped out of my head.
Yeah, so you see a lot more wrestling on AEW. It's because there's no house shows to go to.
I know what I was saying.
You ever see WWE? They're traveling everywhere. They're wrestling all over the place. And when they hit TV, it's mainly to keep those storylines going on TV. Essentially, not really the.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. There's a lot of wrestling that we don't see.
I would love to see the breakdown of like Attitude Era Raws and SmackDowns and see how much wrestling are actually on those shows.
They've done that before. There's only been like, on some episodes you would only get like a few minutes of actual wrestling.
They had so much backstage stuff, the APA playing cards, and there was so much other backstage stuff back then. And like internet wasn't like it was today that people are sitting there timing it to say, oh, this was only that. This was everybody's trying to get famous by saying, oh, it's only 12 minutes, 13 minutes. Just sit back and enjoy it. If you don't watch it, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
I've got a question. Is too much in-ring action hurtful to a show?
No. Well, depends how it's done. That's a loaded question. Like if it's WWE and it's just rematch after rematch, then yes. I think I'd rather see less wrestling and more backstage shit and other stuff. But if it's AEW where they break it up and it's different matches for the most part, and I would love to see WWE do that a little more. But again, I don't really complain. I know what I'm getting when I turn on WWE. So if I don't like it and I turn in and complain, that's on me. Like I shouldn't turn in it.
I mean, I think a big thing as well is the time of the TV shows. I mean, obviously, 3-hour Raw goes without saying that it's a struggle to get through. So you're going to have a lot of these segments, and obviously, Raw is going to have more wrestling than SmackDown. I saw on the
18
minutes. Say that again, Tom.
18 minutes on Raw.
18 minutes.
I'm joking.
Funny jokes from Tom, ladies and gentlemen. What was I going to say now? I was listening to Brian Alvarez again. For some reason, I started listening to Brian Alvarez, maybe to get everyone's opinion. I want to hear everyone out. But he made a good point that, 90 minutes should be the exact perfect time for a wrestling show. And that's, of course, basically 2 hours with commercials, but 90 minutes. So I feel like SmackDown has it perfect. NXT really has it perfect with that time. Obviously, AEW as well. If you cut out a lot of the fluff that you see on Raw, all those meaningless promos and even some of these rematches, and you get down to a 90-minute card, all the stalling and everything, I feel like you would see a lot better of a Raw than we are seeing now. I know that kind of goes off topic, but I think it's all about how you manage the time. For SmackDown, obviously, we're seeing a lot of more of these segments, less in-ring action. For Raw, you're seeing a lot of just stalling. I feel like there's, I went into watching Raw yesterday and they start like 10:30 was when they started promoting, like hyping up the main event. And the main event started at like 10:45 because of the commercial breaks and the entrances and all of this. So if you cut all of that out, I think you get a much better, paced show. But, both shows have their flaws right now. But obviously this 13 minutes of wrestling, it could be taken different ways. I think SmackDown sucked for the most point. So, that's also a thing to mention is even if it's not as much wrestling, if it's shitty wrestling, that hurts as well. But yeah, something I just wanted to bring up there for 13 minutes of wrestling. Wanted to see what you guys' opinions were on that. Pretty good discussion overall. One last topic before we get into the final portions of the show. So, Marco, I kind of cut you off before because I didn't want you to give your opinions too much on this one. But A-Town down, more like L-Town down, am I right? Austin Theory took a loss at Money in the Bank to Bobby Lashley. Of course, he won the Money in the Bank briefcase after that. But then he took a pin to Riddle this past Monday. I don't know if he lost last week. I can't remember. But this begs the question, and it was talked about in our group chat, if these losses are hurting Austin Theory, and is A-Town down, or is A-Town going down?
Going A-Town down.
Is it hurting Theory, basically? Marco, you were talking about it before, so take the floor on this one.
Yeah, I say no. I don't think it does anything. Wins and losses don't matter in WWE, obviously. It's not going to knock him down a few pegs. He still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's still a threat. He can lose all the way up until SummerSlam and then cash in and win the title. So it really doesn't matter. And he didn't. The loss that he took last night was because he tried to cheat and someone stopped him from cheating. So it wasn't like a legit like 1, 2, 3 pin. It was like, hey, he got distracted and then got pinned. So I mean, no, he's still going to be the person that he's going to be. He's still going to come out and threaten that he's going to cash in at SummerSlam like he's been doing. He did it on SmackDown to Roman Reigns. That was actually pretty cool. He had the briefcase and he ran around the ring while Roman was standing there. Roman's like, who the F is this guy? Then last night he comes out while Brock Lesnar's out there and does the same exact thing. So, and he told you exactly what he's going to do. He's going to wait till they're both beat up. And he's going to come out and cash in and wait for that 10 count. It's not going to turn into it. Everyone thought, it's going to be a triple threat match. And no. He's going to cash it in, wait for that 10 count, and then that's his plan. And most of the time when WWE comes out and tells you that it's going to happen, 9 times out of 10, that's going to happen.
It's
true.
Like
one of those, like, it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. So don't be surprised when it does happen.
I do want to say
early.
In the Paul Heyman era of Brock Lesnar, being Universal Champion, every time he said it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler, it did go on to win. So just keep an ear out for if Theory mentions it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler, because I have a feeling that might happen. Tom, you're shaking your head. Go ahead.
I just don't see Roman losing the title.
Not at all.
Not yet.
So, I mean, is it a good thing if he holds on to the title and we still don't have a champion? Would you rather just someone have that belt at this point just to get the title back on TV?
No. Because if you don't have the number one contender to challenge for it, why do you need to feature it? Like when Brock was the champ and he wasn't around, it really wasn't a number one contender to challenge him for it. So it really wasn't needed. So let's build up some guys in the meantime when he's gone, so he has some contenders. You shouldn't have to force a guy to be in there to fight him. It's a joke.
Well, Marco, you guys were talking about it on Chick Foley, like, they're definitely just pushing Theory up to that spot. But of course, there was a lot of Theory hate on this Chick Foley episode, and basically they were saying like, why Theory? Like, why is he the guy? And I could get behind that question as well. Like, why him? We have all these different names and all these different guys. Riddle, obviously Montez Ford. I know Ace has been mentioning all these different names. So why Theory? But I mean, to the Chick Foley folks, I say that case Theory's doing his job well. If there's so much hate on him, but I'm for Theory. Honestly, I would love to see him win the title at SummerSlam, and that little bit of calling him the youngest world champion, that's right there. And it can't happen at any other paper. It needs to happen at SummerSlam because he's turning 25 in August. So it needs to happen now if he wants to be the youngest world champion. So
and You know who else became the youngest world champion at a SummerSlam?
Randy Orton.
And who else? There was another person, I believe.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar defeated
Oh,
The
right.
Rock and became one of the youngest.
Or wasn't he
So-
the soonest? Like he
Yeah, he got a
the
title
shortest
shot really
time from his
fast.
debut.
Yeah, like 6 months, I think he ended up winning the title.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you've been watching wrestling for a long time, you can kind of put these things together. You can add
It's
them
a lot
on.
of trends that you kind
You
of
can say
pick
why
up
theory, why. I mean, I was on the I was the devil's advocate guy on the Chick Foley show the past episode.
on. It was a great
I was-
episode, by the way.
I was the guy saying, "Hey, why not theory? We talk about how we want young talent from the WWE. We want to push young talent, push it. Get these young guys in. Stop with the part timers. But when WWE actually does it, it's like, yeah, we wanted young guys, but not that guy,
Yeah, not him.
not him.
Come
but who
on,
the-
man.
Who the fuck do you want then? It's like you
Agreed.
gotta take something. It's a give and take relationship. You can't have everything. Like
I
they're
think
still gonna
Theory
push
has
Montez. Montez's
Yeah.
gonna get pushed. Don't worry. Riddle's still gonna get pushed. They're the future of that company. Like Braun Breaker, all these people you see on NXT 2.0. They're gonna make their way to the main stage at some point. I think they're just trying to build Riddle and Theory as like the two main guys, like the two
Yeah.
like main eventers, because it's gonna be them two fighting for the title. Like we talked about, like if Theory does take the titles at SummerSlam, who's his number one contender? Fucking Riddle. That's the ultimate baby face against the ultimate heel. Like what? And then now you have two young guys. Well, kind of young for Riddle, but two new talents, I would say.
A young guy and a guy in his prime.
Yes, we'll say that. A young guy and a guy in his prime, battling over the championship. And that's what people have been asking for. I don't get where like the disconnect is, just because it's the person you don't like.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. You're supposed to hate him. You're not supposed to like him.
Yeah.
I love the little part when you guys were talking about like Seth Rollins, because that's so true. Like Marco, you were spitting facts on Chick-fil-A.
What did I say about Seth Rollins?
That like
how everyone hated him at first.
Yeah, well, how like Sheena could like draw a connection to him, but like that's because of the Shield. There was kind of a connection you could draw before
right.
that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You were coming in with heat. I'm not gonna lie. You were doing us well here at the RAWDOWN. No, I will say, is it too soon for Theory to be world champion? You could make the argument, yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
But honestly, like, how are you going to expect these guys to become your next stars if you're not just pulling the trigger on them now? Like, you have the chance to just make him the world champion. And of course, that's at the expense of Roman. But at this point, would you rather keep the title? This could be also Theory only cashes in for one title. Let's also bring that onto the
They're unified. He can't cash in for one title. They're one title. They're one championship.
So let's talk about it as the unified championship then. Would you rather Roman hold on to the belt, take time away, not have the title on for a while, when we know that WWE is not going to properly build up any new contenders for him? Let's be honest. Anyone that they have now is going to be a contender for. They're not going to build anyone up for him. Do that. Hopefully get a Rock match at the end of this whole thing. Maybe even get another Brock match, because they say it's the end, but who fucking knows with them? We might get another one at Survivor Series. Have that for Roman. Or would you rather take the title off of him at 700 days, which is still a very long title reign? 700 days for Roman, take the title off of him, and have Theory be your new, put your flag down, this is your star, go all in on him, and be able to go up against guys that you can get fresh matches on now, because you wasted Riddle and Roman, so that's not going to be your match. You have Theory versus Roman as your match. You have time to build up Montez Ford. You have all of these other interesting bringing up Braun Breaker. You could do Breaker versus Theory, which is definitely a great dynamic there. You have all these different things, and you truly put all of your eggs in one basket, and you say Theory is our guy. He's not going to Hollywood. He's 24 years old. Put a world title on him now, and we'll really get the most out of him at such a young age. I would at this point, and honestly, we haven't gotten any tonight, so I'll just throw it in.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
If you present me with those two scenarios, at this point, I would rather Theory than Roman have the title. And I know there's more of like the history behind Roman. What haven't we gotten out of Roman as champion that we haven't gotten already? Got John Cena, Brock, Goldberg, Edge, Daniel Bryan. We've got who else? Fucking
Brock.
Cesaro, Seth Rollins,
Brock
again. All of the matches that you would expect to see, we've already gotten. Who else is there for him except for Rock?
Orton. Well, Orton.
Orton wasn't going to happen because of the injury. And it wasn't really like a money match, let's be honest.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody, okay, I'll give you Cody. You could still do Cody versus Theory. There's a lot of story there.
Yeah, because you have a baby face and you have an heel as well.
Still could work.
Yep.
The only match that I could seriously say was a dream match for Roman that we haven't gotten yet is Roman versus Rock. And that doesn't need the title because the title of Roman versus Rock is huge in itself. And we're going to get that at WrestleMania. That's, I don't know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's confirmed yet, but like it's as close to being confirmed as you can get because now you could do Theory versus Cena. You could do Theory versus Cody Rhodes. You could do Theory versus Montez Ford, Theory versus Riddle. You have so many other fresh matches that now putting the title on a younger guy makes sense. Is it too soon? Yes. But there's a lot of upside.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going for with like the Roman Reigns like title run as far as like the days, like counting down the days. Like there's no way he's like getting up to the Bruno Sammartino.
You can't.
Like thing. There's no way he's even getting up to Bob Backlund, which is, you know, like I think he's second after and then Hogan, which is like his is like even 1,400 days or something like that. Like does WWE really need a longest reigning like title guy? Like do they, is that something that's really like an accolade you need nowadays? Like
he's already in the same conversation as I saw a graphic on Instagram that had 5 wrestlers on it. It was Bruno, Bob Backlund, Pedro Morales, Hulk Hogan, and Roman Reigns. And this was months ago that they posted this graphic. So
wait, what? Who they put for the WWE champions?
It was a mix of, this was when Roman was still Universal Champion, but
okay, yeah, because he's after. Well, even Pedro's 1,000. What is it? 1,000. Let me look at it.
Yeah,
real quick.
I think all of them are in that 1,000 day club.
Like, come on.
You can't have Roman as your champion for it. I wanted it to happen selfishly because I think that's so cool to have Roman as your world champion until WrestleMania 40. But the more you think about it, you can't have Roman as your champion for 1,000 days. He's about to go into Hollywood. There are no other matches for him. WWE is not good at building up younger talent or building up anyone for champions. So you might as well just put it on someone who they are building up currently. And Ace says this huge rub can't be wasted in a shitty cash-in when Theory doesn't pin Roman and a triple threat with Brock. But that's the thing. Theory is being built as an ultimate heel. You could totally do that. That's the same thing that happened with Rollins. It's just switched now. I mean, if he pins Brock, you know, if he pins Roman, this is the perfect opportunity for them to really say, all right, we want to go in on Theory. Fine. Let's give him the title, pin one of these guys. Either way, it's a huge rub.
Yep.
So to me, I'm fine with it. Tom, any other thoughts?
No, I stick to what I said. I don't want Roman to lose it yet.
That's fair. When would you have him lose it?
When there's somebody that's worthy to beat him.
Like who?
Whether
That
it
could be like
Cody.
That could be never.
Could be never.
Cody could do it when he gets back. That's what I want to see.
I mean, Cody is definitely up there. I think Cody's the only guy, really.
There's
but like I said,
that he should be beating Roman yet. That he should be beating Roman yet.
Yeah.
Gotta build him up some more.
You also got to think of the Cardiff show too, as well.
The Cardiff show,
in September.
Would you
Like,
have Theory as your champion going into Cardiff? I mean, you could do Theory versus McIntyre.
You can do triple threat. You can have
You do triple threat.
Roman, Theory, and McIntyre.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I don't know. All of this we could be talking, and fucking Theory fails his cash in.
It could be a botch. It could be a botch cash in. Who knows?
Could be a botch cash. I hope
you might
not.
hold it to Mania.
God, I hate botch cash in. You could hold it to Mania.
Damn.
So a lot of moving pieces here, but it makes for interesting discussions like this. Marco, you said you had one more topic that you wanted to discuss real quick if you wanted to.
Yes. And before I get to that, let's not forget who Theory asked for advice on his cash-in.
Seth Rollins.
Yes. And if there's somebody that has Roman Reigns' number, it's a man named Seth Rollins.
Yes, sir.
So if Seth Rollins can hurt Roman Reigns in any way he can, if it's through Theory, then he's going to do it through Theory.
Embrace the vision.
Exactly. Theory's going to embrace the vision.
Embrace that vision.
Yeah, because not to like harp on, but he was a part of his crew at one point during the pandemic era.
Oh, God. I'm sure WWE forgot that, honestly.
Yeah, it was Theory. Right. Who else? Theory, Buddy. Yeah.
AOP.
Yep. All right.
Buddy.
So we didn't talk about this. So, we had a little downside with Judgment Day. They had a little mishap, a little misstep. But it looks like, for me anyway, they might get back in the good graces if they can pull the ultimate heel turn in Dominic Mysterio.
I had a graphic ready for that.
It looks like they're courting Dominic Mysterio to join Judgment Day to shed his father, who is not doing anything for him. And I think it might happen. I think SummerSlam, the Mysterio.
Well, look, before you get into all this, because this was actually going to be next on the next segment.
Okay.
Because I think well and away this match, Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor, was It was easily match of the week. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, so yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking SummerSlam, you're going to get Judgment Day versus the Mysterios. Hopefully they don't do it before that, but WWE's, they might throw it on a Monday Night Raw. But I'm thinking that's going to happen. They lose. The Mysterios lose. Dominic gets frustrated at his dad and joins Judgment Day. It could happen. I think they're getting back in the good graces of everyone. And you have Edge's return too, so who knows what that's going to look like. But yeah, because there was another creepy video last night.
You had the same shit in it though, right?
No, it had different stuff.
Oh, I didn't know.
It actually had they had like Mick Foley's,
Orton and Foley.
Yeah, they had the RKO shirt, the RKO and the NWO letters shirt hanging. They had Mick Foley's flannel on a chair, light up and fire.
I missed
that. They had some new stuff showing, but who knows what's gonna happen with that? But I'm thinking Judgment Day's gonna get back up in the good graces. I think they're actually gonna get Dominic. He's gonna be the next member.
This whole I'm seeing so much on Twitter, Judgment Day has been
buried.
They're buried. They're buried. They're fighting the Mysterios. They're buried. No one likes to follow stories anymore. No one
does.
Actually, no they want instant gratification. Their fans.
Dude, Kenny Omega said it in an interview recently. He said, if there's one thing he doesn't like, it's just too much wrestling. Not enough storytelling nowadays.
And Tom, I'm glad you said that, because even WWE gets shit on for doing stories too soon, or pulling the trigger on stuff. But the fact is, you look at everything that Judgment Day has done so far. Go back and listen to my rant. All right. Obviously, that encompasses a lot of it, of Edge, being overshadowing Damian and Rhea and them taking him out and joining up with Finn and all of that. So Rhea gets injured, and this obviously changes some plans. Bringing in a feud with the Mysterios surely wasn't the number one option, or maybe it was. But taking what we see now, Judgment Day versus the Mysterios didn't seem like the number one option. And then last week, even we joked about it a little bit. Oh, fucking Judgment Day might be buried now because of a loss to the Mysterios. That's because I didn't watch Raw last week. I did not see what happened. Finally went back to look at it. And Ray cheated to win by DQ. The story was brewing already that Dom was trying to be lured from Judgment Day away from Ray. To me, Ray winning by disqualification in that same Eddie Guerrero-esque tribute is a way of saying, why would you need them when you have family? And family is always reliable. Why we don't need them. We're fine. This week, Ray loses clean to Finn Balor. Nothing else happens. Maybe we see it at SummerSlam, but obviously the seeds are planted that Dom might be going over to the Judgment Day now that he sees that, maybe Ray isn't as reliable. Maybe he's not as, great as they're making him out to be. Maybe it's time to change my fate a little bit. So I'm glad that you mentioned this because I completely forgot that I wanted to go on a little rant about this. Fans need to calm down. Like, there is so much story that is going on that people miss because they are so, Edge was supposed to face Finn Balor. Rhea Ripley got injured. This is what they're fighting on main event. What the fuck is going on? Calm down. There's a story happening right under your nose and you're not even following it. Calm down. It's going to be fine. Dom might go to Judgment Day. He may not. Follow the story. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Interesting.
Add that to the record books on another rant about Judgment Day. I'm going to defend them till the day I die. But this is one of the best. This is not the best storytelling, obviously, in WWE, but this is one of the better things that I've seen this year. Just because of the little things that they're adding up and adding up. Nothing's too rushed. Still put this over the fucking House of Black. I'll tell you that. Not to open that can of worms, but absolutely. Julia Hart, how's she doing on Dark? Anyways.
You're insane.
Who?
At any rate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Forgot that.
Did you say who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're insane.
I do like the idea of Miro and Malachi going at it, though. Seems a bit soon, but
yeah.
Well, I started the story at the pay-per-view, so
love me some Miro.
Do love me some Miro. Tom, any thoughts on Judgment Day?
This is still garbage. Move on.
You're ridiculous. You are ridiculous, Tom.
These kids today.
When was the last time that you watched Raw? How about that?
Anytime you add Dominic Mysterio to something, it instantly becomes diarrhea.
Well, maybe this is the time for him to switch it up a little bit. If you put him on Judgment Day, maybe it's a new dynamic for him.
I think so. I think he leaves his dad. It's either gonna happen. When's his Rey Mysterio's anniversary? Is what, like next week or the week after or something like that? It's like the week maybe the week before.
I forgot about that. I think it's in August.
Is it? Well, yeah, it's gonna be.
Oh no, it is this month.
Yeah, it's either gonna happen at SummerSlam or maybe on that anniversary, or maybe the anniversary is gonna be like that. As they're like showing all of Rey Mysterio's accomplishments and all this stuff. Judgment Day comes out and digs in a little bit more. Where are your accomplishments since your father's been by your side? Obviously they won the tag titles and that was it. But
hey, buds, guess what? Ray's overshadowing Dominic right now.
Yes.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about the story.
These kids today don't appreciate storylines anymore.
He's overshadowing Dom, and he's taking the spotlight away from him, but he's losing.
Yep.
Think about it.
Yep.
Think about it.
All rise for Dominic Mysterio. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you.
It's gonna happen.
Then Rhea's gonna come back. Hopefully,
God, I love the Judgment Day. I gotta bring back. I had to return my green screen, but I want to bring it back just because once Dom turns and obviously I become right again. I'll bring back the green screen and I'll get my wings.
The crowd's not going to be mild either, man. The crowd's going to be like, because he's going to actually like beat the shit out of his dad. That's the other thing too. That's going to be the pop of the century right there. It's not the century, but it's going to be a pretty big. What the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like the original turn was like, what the fuck was going on?
Yeah, I might shed a tear too because I do love overshadowing him, and I don't want to see his son beat up his dad, but.
Tom, you'll learn eventually. Judgment Day. You'll learn.
House of Black all day long.
House of Black. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. I could go on and on about Judgment Day, but we're in match of the week, so I will say I think this was well and away match of the week, right? Was there anything that came close to it?
If the main event was a little bit longer, probably.
Sure.
But other than that, no. Definitely Balor and Rey Mysterio, I think.
Yeah, seems
like I think Mox and Brody King with the match.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, wait,
your House of Black again. Did you see not to go off topic, but did you see that little promo that they shot in like one of those, I don't know what store it was. I'm going to say Hot Topic. That Brody King was beating up Darby Allin.
Oh, I heard about that.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. I like that they did that.
Yep.
Would like to see more of that. Yeah, we'll give match of the week to Finn versus Rey, and it's time to end off the show as we always do.
Who won the week?
Who won the week? Tom, start us off.
Raw.
It's because you only watched Raw.
Yeah.
Marco, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with Raw. More action on Raw, but I mean, if they had maximum male models, I would never watch SmackDown at all.
You need a little titillating. I can't ever say that word. Titillating. Is it just titillating?
Titillating, yes.
Titillating.
It's funny because when we started doing the SmackDown recap, young Anthony, SmackDown was way better than Raw.
Yeah.
Raw was like unwatchable at the time, and now it's kind of flipped.
Yeah.
For a while, SmackDown was the best show. I mean, like, that whole era of the pandemic, the Thunderdome era, everything with Roman was fantastic. And then all of a sudden, Raw just became the drizzlings. I'll give it to Raw. A lot more interesting stories going on right now. I think it's just interesting that they're putting a lot more emphasis on Raw right now than they are SmackDown. And there was a time
very true
where, like, you know, it was just the complete opposite. Like, there was so much emphasis put on SmackDown because it would just sign the deal with Fox and they wanted to make sure that they had all the big stars and everything. But now
the USA contract is expiring soon.
Really? When?
Yeah, really soon, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's why. Let's see if we can find out. Let me look.
As you find that out, Marco, do you think there is a world where they'll drop it down to 2 hours?
No, unfortunately.
You don't think so, Tom?
It's more advertising, man. That's why they
exactly.
I think that's why they moved it to 3 hours in the first place, was advertising.
But then why wouldn't they negotiate a 3-hour deal for Fox then? That's also something to think about. Plus they have Miz and Mrs. So I mean, fuck it.
I mean, it could be because USA is more of like a cable network, and you know, Fox is more of like a national network where they have like local news and all that on it. So I mean, if it would improve SmackDown to go 3 hours, I mean, I wouldn't hate it.
Oof.
But
I don't know if it'll improve it. I don't know if I want to see 5 minutes of maximum male models is enough for me. I don't know if I need 15.
Just give us Sami Zayn and maximum male models. And
hey, look, Sami Zayn. If I get 3 hours of Sami Zayn, I'll be good. But I don't know about 3 hours of SmackDown. Tom, were you able to find if that contract's ended?
I found it right now. Hold on. How long?
You know what was weird too? I forgot to bring up.
What did you forget to bring up?
During the premium live event of Money in the Bank, what were those weird like commercials of all the superstars? Did you notice that? Like they did one on, like between matches, they did like one on Bobby Lashley. It was like a commercial on Bobby Lashley, and then there was
they've been doing that. I mentioned that on an episode before. They've been doing that all year.
It's so weird. I don't get it.
It's a time killer because now they have they know they can't fill 3 hours of just matches, so they're using these to. This is kind of adding to our talking point before of like how the premium live events are really like the things that you should be watching.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm a casual fan and I'm only watching the premium live events, I won't miss anything between the video packages to hype up the matches and the promos, like those Bobby Lashley videos that hype up the wrestlers. You don't miss anything. You get really good wrestling. You get the story behind it. You get little promos that add to things, make you want to watch Raw, but you don't have to. And then they hype up the wrestlers in between, you know, when they're not on the show. So I like them. I don't like that they're the same ones over and over. I've seen that fucking Bobby I could recite all of Bobby Lashley's accomplishments. I've seen that video so many times. But yeah, I'm a fan of it. They just got to make new ones. They did one on like WrestleMania. They made everyone just like look up at the big screen at AT&T Stadium and watch Bobby Lashley become a
they did that. I think
champion.
Kevin Owens. Yeah, Kevin Owens was one of them.
They did one for Sasha at Mania.
I think just it seems like they're just trying to, like you said, reintroduce maybe the people that only watch the premium live events. Yeah, reintroduce like those individuals to that
I don't mind it. I think that's cool. I think that if you got to kill time, at least introduce your new fans who maybe bought Peacock because of The Office and, you know, fucking Despicable Me, and just so happened to want to watch a you know, premium live event on a Saturday or Sunday. You know, teach them about Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens. Why not? It's a fun time.
Yeah,
Good time
I actually just watched that recently. Despicable Me.
I've seen Despicable Me so many times by accident that it is ridiculous. It's always on TV. It is always. I used to have a video little player that played CDs in my car. Despicable Me was the only CD that was in that little cassette player. And I've seen that. I could recite Despicable Me. It's ridiculous.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Reports. Some reports say 2023. Some reports say 2024. So,
well, Acefield is on the case, and he says on June 26, 2018.
I just found a thing that says it was 20. They signed a new deal that goes through 2024. So I don't know which one's right.
I'm not
June
sure.
2023. Yeah, they'll renew.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
Well, correction from Ace. Starting in October 2019, the deal will continue until 2024.
Yep.
Yeah,
we'll have a 3-hour block on each of the Monday
nights. That's what I saw.
Well, you know what? We'll see what happens after these this investigation.
Yeah, that could change.
Because one of the things I forgot to bring up was one of the touting lines for WWE as a corporation saying, like, you know, Vince McMahon is like kind of like the glue that holds the company together. Like, he needs to be in power, essentially. That's like kind of one of the things that they use for like investors and all that stuff. And he's the guy that they kind of like, he's like the face or whatever. So we'll see what happens in 2024 with these allegations.
See what happens.
You might want to put a female face out there by the name, another McMahon by the name of Stephanie. You might want to start putting that face out there.
That's true.
Make it nice for people.
I will also go with Raw. They won the week.
Yeah.
Did I already say that? I probably already said that. Raw won the week.
Yeah, it's unanimous. There's no.
Yeah, it's unanimous. Raw won the week. Which only means one last thing to say.
Hey, yo.
Time to end the show. Folks, thank you for tuning into yet another edition of the RAWDOWN. Tom, get your shit in. Where are we finding you?
Guys, if you have not watched Fig Night with Jeremy Padawa yet, head on over to YouTube. Watch Fig Night. It was an hour, 25 minutes. He took fans' questions at the end. Like, it was an amazing time, an amazing dude. Like, you learn so much, not only about wrestling figures, but about inflation, his prediction for inflation. Go check it out. And as far as me, you know, I'm on sessions on Friday. I'm on a debate show on Monday, the AEW wrap-up show on Wednesday, this show on Tuesday. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram at theogfigkid.com. I have a new studio I'm putting in my basement for figure photography.
Ooh,
I ordered a bunch of equipment. It's coming tomorrow. I cannot wait. Woo!
Good times.
Oh,
Marco, that was a powerful woo.
Yeah, how do you follow that? Jeez. So much.
Well, go ahead, follow it.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't even know what to do. No, but
what do I say?
Yeah. You can, what do I say right now? I don't know what to do with my hands. like on Talladega Nights. But anyway, yeah, you can catch me running the Twitter machine at Chick Foley Show. You can find Sheena over at Chick Foley on IG. You can find me on IG at the MVP Marco. You can find me sometimes in Chick Foley's IG comments when I'm feeling spicy and someone says something that I kind of want to troll. You'll see me trolling there a little bit sometimes, specifically on Premium Live Event Time.
Yeah.
So find me there because I find it hilarious. You could also chickfoleyshow.com, sign up, join the group, join the Facebook group, man. I mean, like SDCC's around the corner. There's be some new reveals all around. There's gonna be some new releases throughout the summer. You're gonna need help probably finding some new figures. Definitely join the group. You have like 1,000 eyeballs looking out for stuff. There's always people selling stuff too within the group as well. Collectors helping collectors, as we like to say. No drama-free zone, no fights, none of that stuff. I'm an administrator. I've yet to kick anyone out or remove anyone or delete a post. So it's a judgment-free zone over there. But yeah, and look out for me, obviously, on the RAWDOWN every week. You know, the Chick Foley Show too. And if you want to find out more information, go to the Pod Foundation on IG, and that's where you can follow everybody, including the Pod Foundation. That is coming down the aisle. It is the Extra Cool Show. It is Turnbuckle Tavern. It is the Chick Foley Show. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Judgment-free zone.
I mean, our group chat, the Pod Foundation group chat, is not really judgment-free. We kind of like pick on each other a little bit, which is fine. It's fun. It's
warranted. Fun. Sometimes Tom has shitty takes, and I got to call him out on them.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You like Judgment Day, and you say I have shitty takes?
Look, judgment-free zone. Hopefully, it's not a Judgment Day free zone.
Well, that ain't a knee slapper, buddy.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's funny.
Alas, I would be remiss not to mention that you could also find J-Bone over at comingdowntheaislepod.com. He is doing some fantastic work as well. Hope to see him back soon, but he is pumping out some of his content, so definitely got to go check him out. You know, he's got his Free the Figs, he's got his flagship shows, he's got all the stuff that he's doing. He's lighting it up on YouTube. Everything can be found at comingdowntheaislepod.com. And one last plug from me, of course, in the Epicenter on Instagram and Twitter, and new show coming to you on Friday. Finally, you're damn right. The perfect time to do it. We waited. We did the math on this, and we have a new show coming to you for the Turnbuckle Tavern this Friday at 7 p.m. At 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can't even get my time right. Before our time, it is myself and Nick Storm. What a duo. We are going to be reviewing every installment of a special pay-per-view. It's going to be, kind of the trend for each of the seasons. First season, it's going to be WrestleMania. We're going to go back and we are going to watch every single WrestleMania once a week. And it's going to be a fun time because this is from the perspective of a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old. So we're going to be...
you know what sucks?
What sucks, Tom?
Both of your ages up. I'm older than that combined.
You damn right it is. Hell yeah. Love that. I love the sound of that.
Hey, listen, that just means I got to watch all the WrestleManias live, baby.
That's true, too. But we're going to go back and watch them again. And, it's going to be a fun time because us being younger fans, we get a different perspective on things. We get to compare the past and the present. There's a lot of different conversation topics we're going to have about some stuff. Of course, the first episode is going to be on WrestleMania 1, and we have a bunch of stuff to talk about even before WrestleMania with Black Saturday and Hulkamania's birth and the Rock and Wrestling era. So there's so much to dive into, and it's going to be so much fun. I hope you join us before our time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, myself and Nick Storm. It's going to be an interesting hour with the Australian icon.
Yeah.
And of course, you can find Shot of Nostalgia at their new time, 7 p.m. Fridays. Thank you, Ace and Mike, for bumping up an hour to let before our time and Shot of Nostalgia run smoothly to give you your Friday dose of old-timey wrestling. But ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. If you like what you heard, I know that you did. Make sure to support the Turnbuckle Tavern in any way you can. The number one way to do that, and the source of all of that, is by going over to theturnbuckletavern.com. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can go ahead and drop us a comment and a like and a subscribe on YouTube, as we are on the road to 800 subscribers. Follow us on Twitch as well. We need to get those numbers up. We're, doing really well on all of our platforms, but there's always room for improvement. And there's always room for another member of the tavern.
Watch Fig Night next week. We're announcing a new contest.
A new
Twitch
contest on Fig Night.
Twitch
fun times over there.
Contest, so watch it.
You can also get your updates for the Turnbuckle Tavern on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and join our Discord. A lot of fun stuff happens on all of those platforms, and you can get our merch. You can go over to prowrestlingtees.com/tavern, where you can get your exclusive Turnbuckle Tavern shirts. Everyone at the tavern has a shirt. I think that is phenomenal. Get a Hollywood Tony shirt, get a Boney Shivani shirt, MVP Marco. You got the OG Fig Kid has a t-shirt too. But if you don't like any of those shirts, go on over to Teespring. You can find that at the turnbuckletavern.com. You get the official RAWDOWN logo on your merch. Marco is actually sporting that tonight, and it's a beautiful shirt. Highly suggest getting one. Or if you're not into shirts, I know a lot of people aren't, you can get your stickers, get your mugs. All these logos are available on them, and we have a fun time overall. Definitely get your fix of merch to support the tavern. And not only support the tavern, you can fucking call the tavern. 304-404-2004 is the number to call. Hear your message played on the flagship show. Call the tavern. Leave us a voicemail. Let's have some fun. There are so many amazing voicemails that have been heard on the flagship show, and many more to come. And also, tell them that the RAWDOWN sent you, and give us your thoughts on the RAWDOWN, because we're always here to improve. We're always open to improvement here. I know Tom isn't. He's usually set in his ways. It's usually what happens when you're a boomer. But look, regardless, there's so many ways to help the tavern out, and do all of them. It goes such a long way. We are on the road to 800 subscribers. We just had an amazing interview with Jeremy Padower. We have so much great content, new shows. Villainy is a fucking great show. It's going to happen with Chad, and he's going to talk about some of the best heels in the business before our time, with myself and Nick Storm talking about every single WrestleMania. We have all these amazing, fucking honor societies coming back. We have the fucking GCWs coming back. Broken VCR with Hawk. So much great. I feel like I'm Tony Khan right now. Let's fucking go. I am talking about so much great stuff. But
don't forget Fig Night and Sessions. You little
Fig Night Sessions, all elite wrap up, and of course the RAWDOWN right here on Tuesday nights. But it's all warranted. We are doing some great work. If you aren't on the tavern flagship, join in, because we are doing great work. But alas, folks, we will see you next week for yet another edition of the RAWDOWN. But until then, take care, spike your hair, woo, 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 you know it.